It's that time of year, baby. It's March. And us Irish folk out here, we're always trying to get lucky, baby. You know how we do. So it hit me the other day. I'm in here, rub-a-dub-dub, scrubbing in the tub. Have my ultra premium collection, that 2-in-1 conditioner for the hair. The body wash. The Lawnmower 4.0. Did I tell you, by the way, that it's waterproof, Deke? The waterproof one, with the light on it. So I'm in there, right, and I'm getting all groomed up, feeling nice and neat, smelling immaculate. I get out, I hit the nose trimmer as well. Can't have any of those weed whackers in the nose, you know what I'm saying? Get up out of there. And I FaceTime wifey. Because you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, Deke, I'm feeling good over here. I was feeling good. So I was like, man, it might be that time. I'm like, hey, babe, what's up? She gave me that look. I said, whoa. And then the phone cut off. I didn't get lucky that day. But I felt like I was about to get lucky that day because of Manscaped, baby. So with that being said, don't mess around, baby. Do not mess around. Make sure you go to manscaped.com. And as we always say, if we're going to talk about it, we got to have action for you. Use the promo code MOST. Get that 20% off on all your purchases plus free shipping worldwide. So that way you too can get lucky like yours truly. And smell good, and I can assure you on this, when you are finished taking care of yourself, glamoring it on up and hitting it with that Lawnmower 4.0, your delicate twins will certainly thank you, baby. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Topic, man. Talking about the winners and losers. Well, some winners and some losers from the Combine. And, yeah, man. This is pretty interesting. I got to go right to, I said this on, Friday show? I said, when we decide to start the show today, we're going right to Let's Go UW's guy, Chad Muma. And ladies and gentlemen, Chad did not disappoint. In fact, man, Chad was top notch, man. He showed that he has elite level athleticism, man, that he is just as good or if not better than some of these guys from an athletic testing perspective. 4.63 in his 40, 27 bench reps, 40-inch vert. In the 10-9 broad, man, when you talk about the 40-inch vert in the 10-9 broad, that is crazy explosiveness. That's being able to get out your hips, man. And that's what you want in terms of those linebackers, man. Being explosive athletes. That helps with the change of direction. That helps when they're tackling guys as well. That broad jump especially, bursting out those hips like that. But then the 27 bench reps, I believe that was the highest mark at the or the highest for the linebackers, if I remember correctly. Just shows off the strength that he has as well, man. So even though I say that he looked a little, smaller or leaner, like tall and lean because he's 6'3". That's what he measured in at the Combine. The 27 reps shows that, nah, man, my guy is still strong. I mean, he's stronger than me. I did 24. So I'm like, man, salute you, Chad. I like this. But the 4.63, man, that was the one for me that I definitely liked. I was like, man, obviously the 4.4s that we saw throwing out there and some of the low 4.5s look great. But when I look at Chad's tape, along with the testing that he did and the strength that he has, I mean, to me, that definitely solidifies him to me as a first or second. I think he's definitely going to go in that second personally, but I think he's in that second round now, like officially, because of what he was able to do testing wise. Another guy that I thought stood out, and we talked about Sky Moore, obviously on the other pot, or excuse me, on Friday's show, I believe it was as well. I mean, we knew he lit it up. We knew, the 4.4 win that he ran and how he was smoothing the routes that really helped him out. But how about the other linebacker that we were talking about, the athlete, former quarterback turned linebacker, and Troy Anderson? Bro, he blew the Combine out the water as well. He dropped that 4.42 40, 36-inch vert, and then the 10.8 broad. I was like, bruh, whoa. Now, we knew you were fast on film because we talked about that. We said, he looks, he just looks like a good athlete. He felt like he ran well, but we didn't know he was 4.42 fast. I thought he was kind of like 4.5 fast. 4.42, that's rolling. That's rolling. And then the 36-inch vert, explosive. The 10.8 broad, super explosive. So both of those guys, for me, especially at that inside linebacker spot, I felt like they made themselves, some good money and definitely improved their draft stock, because that was the big question for both of those guys. Two other guys, though, that I thought in that linebacker group that helped themselves. Christian Harris, from Alabama. I remember watching him on tape thinking that, he was going to be 240-ish, and he was going to probably run 4.6-ish, 4.5 at best. But he comes in at, I think it was 226 and runs 4.4. I was like, bro, I did not know that you had that. Now, that does, make him a little bit more intriguing. But I do feel like with him, he already had a lot of buzz. But it's just good to know that he has that type of speed. And then, I mean, I feel like any player that played for
maybe he
Georgia,
goes he was solidly in the second, maybe
mm-hmm.
goes early second, and does someone
Yeah.
take a flyer on him late first? Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But then I also thought of the other Georgia player because I felt like Georgia went there and just said, "Hey, this is our combine. This is our year." So every Georgia
That's literally where
player,
I've listed down. I just have
yeah,
Georgia players for
every
winners.
Georgia
Yeah.
player balled out. So like Channing Tindall, remember we
Yeah.
talked about? Oh yeah, he's fast. He went out there and dropped 4.47. I'm like, I gotta call Jarvis up. Like Jarvis, what are y'all doing with these guys down here? Where do you find these athletes? I mean, between Channing, Jordan Davis, they going the DN Walker. I'm like, bro, like. What's going on down there, man? Is it something in the water? What you feeding these guys, JJ? Talk to me here, man, because this is crazy. It's crazy.
Well, when Keith Stewart even brings up in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Davis, dude. Holy hell.
Dude, what the heck, man? Dude,
4.78, and he says faster 40 than Baker and Mahomes.
seriously, bro. It's 6'6", 341. 6'6", 341 pounds, Deke. 4.78 40, 32-inch vert, and a 10.3 broad jump. When I saw the 10.3, I said, dude, I jumped like 10.2. What the heck is this? I said, wait a minute. I started feeling attacked a little bit like, yo, Jordan, bro, you ain't supposed to be able to do that. That's not normal. Shoot, think about 4.78. He's only what? 5/10 slower than Kenny Pickett. Kenny ran 4.73. I was like, yo, this is nuts, man. That is nuts.
You got to see his
big,
explosiveness and the highlights and on film and stuff.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to see his rundown and chase down ability that, well, maybe we get to see. Who knows? I mean, if we drafted him, let's just say if we drafted him, is he pulling like the Cam Hayward and stuff? That's not a dude you want chasing you down like down the field,
man.
or even if you're a quarterback, just to even think,
Seriously.
man, he's as fast as Mahomes or Baker Mayfield, if not faster.
Yeah.
Like Keith Stewart brought up in the comments, like that's pretty lethal.
For me, man, going back to Jordan, I think that he definitely helped himself out in a major way because with Jordan, the knock was what? Man, if you draft this guy in the first round, he's only going to play 20% of the snaps. Well, I think that this shows that he has the ability to play more than that. This shows that, number one, his conditioning was good because he wasn't even tired after doing his workout. You watch him doing the field work, man, he moved extremely well. Whether you're talking about him backpedaling a little bit and bursting, whether you're talking about him having to go through the bags doing his pass rush, and then showing good bend as well. So he showed the athletic ability. He showed the flexibility as well. But at the same time, the conditioning looked good because he was not breathing hard. He looked fine. And for me, it just makes me feel like, man, I don't mind getting him in the first if he's available because I do think that, yeah, he might start out playing 30 to 40% of these snaps, but I think he can easily evolve into a 60% of the snaps type of guy, 70% at best. I don't want to have him out there too long because with bigger body guys, they get fatigued. And when they get fatigued, they play high and they're just not going to be, as good as they can be. But I definitely think that Jordan has, kind of quieted that whole, he's only going to be able to play 20%. You're drafting him for just 2 downs. It's like, man, if you're getting a dominant 2-down run stuffer who has pass rush ability, like I said, his bull rush is very much legitimate. It's like, man, you feel like you can still win with that. He's still going to be worth that pick. Now, for us, I just don't know if he's still available. I mean, he might be.
That's what everyone's saying in the chat. They're like, he won't make it to 20.
Right, I think he's going to be
Mathis
gone
will be
too
gone
early
by
now,
15.
man. Yeah, that's my thing. I think because of how well he performed, he's not going to be available to us now at that 20 mark. Kind of like we talk about Sky Moore. It's like, man, with Sky's like, man, is he, are you getting him at 52 or do you have to potentially bump up a little bit in that second down because of the 4.41 with the tape that he has? Those are some of the things that it's like the gift and the curse with the combine. But a couple other guys, man, that I thought really helped themselves out on the back end, DBs here. Sauce Gardner come in, measured at 6'3". Dude, that's long. That good size out there at the cornerback spot. Not that 5'9", that 5'10" that you was trying to, say, oh man, a couple inches ain't that big of a deal. Deke, don't you play. Every inch counts. All right. But for him to be 6'3" and then still drop that 4.41 with the tape that he has, is showing the fundamentals that he has, man, I think that Sauce really showed that, he is that premier guy. He's that top guy in this class, for me at least. And then Jaquan Brisker, guy that we talked about up here a week ago, drops to 4.49. I mean, for me, man, seeing that type of speed from him it looked really good because he's a guy that we thought was a little bit more physical than anything. But it was like, man, it's good to see that he can legit play in that middle with that type of speed. And then I had to bring up another one of Tomlin's disciples, a Maryland guy, Nick Cross.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nick Cross had himself a day. He came in 6'1", 212. So that's good size at that safety spot, man. Thick. All right. But that 4'3", 440? 4'3", Deke? Stupid. 37-inch vert, 10 broad. Yeah. That's crazy explosiveness right there. That's some big power, man. I definitely like that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to list off a couple of guys I got?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm with you. Hey, I'm with you on everything that you said there.
Yeah.
Although, with Muma, are we wrong?
Mm-hmm. What's up?
Are we wrong in saying we thought he was going to be a little faster?
No, I definitely did. But at the same time,
because we thought he was going to run faster than you, right? Or you were saying that at least.
Yeah, I thought that he would at the 4.5 would be dope for him. But at the same time, like I told you, 4.63 on the laser to me is still 4.7s when you're talking hand time, because that's the difference between them stopping it at your head in terms of the first thing that crosses. Think about a race, right? With Usain Bolt, they don't wait till his hip crosses. They do what? The first thing that breaks the plane. First thing breaks the plane, he's a 4.57, 4.58 guy. When you talking 4.63 on the laser, that means you have to wait till your whole body passes through. So I'm not tripping on that. To me, that's fast for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you combine it with the other stuff too.
Right.
And showing that type of explosiveness. So yeah, 4.6. Actually, yeah, that's probably within the lines of just like, all right, that's fine. I mean, maybe that wasn't his best effort or wasn't his best performance there, but at the same time, you know what? We see what he does on the field. This at least confirms that he's in that range, and then you add some of the other stuff. So overall, I can't really say he had a bad combine for sure. If anything, it's way more positive.
Yeah, he was like,
now I got the Georgia guys. Obviously, we just talked about
any Georgia player that showed up, man.
Damone Clark from LSU.
Oh yeah, he looked good. He looked good.
4.5 speed. I mean, he's already got good size, and he was looking pretty good a month or so ago. I remember I was watching some of his highlights. We were doing linebackers. I accidentally was watching his for some reason. I was like, oh, bro. His height and everything, his speed, he could be one of these modern linebackers for us. And they had him later. I think they had him around 3rd or 4th, but he was slowly climbing up the mock drafts. And now with this 4.5, I think that definitely helped him a lot. The running backs, Breece Hall, Pierre Strong, Kenneth Walker, all
Kenneth looked good.
Good verticals.
Yeah, he looked good.
All those type of attributes. Like they're probably going to go, well, at least Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall, they're talking about them 2nd round. But Pierre Strong, maybe he finds himself in the 3rd or 4th now, because he was a running back that was a little bit more of a sleeper, but showed very similar numbers as Hall and Walker in this combine. So he got helped out with that. Just those 3 running backs as a whole. Malik Willis, obviously, we talked about with the arm strength and everything. I think he's finding himself top 15, top 10.
Yeah,
that's where it feels like the buzz is going.
Bro. What about Desmond, though? How about Desmond Ridder? I thought that he looked impressive as well, man.
Solid. He might find himself in the bottom of the 1st right now. I wouldn't be shocked.
He was a lot more athletic than I thought he was going to test. I mean, he tested really well, man.
And he looked good in the Senior Bowl. I said he had the best performance in the Senior Bowl out of all the quarterbacks. Like, he's having a good little offseason here before the draft.
You know who else? Who else we were just talking about in that quarterback room that had themselves a day at the combine? E.J. Perry.
I didn't see his stuff. What'd he do?
Bro, he went out there and dropped 4.65 on the 40, 34.5-inch vertical, and then had a 10.3 broad jump, bro. Yes, he was out that thing getting off. We thought that he was athletic when we watched him on tape. And we said, they could do some things with his mobility. We thought that we liked him a little bit better than a Bailey Zappi or any of those other guys. And we said, man, he kind of comps like a Tyler Heineke and everything like that. But the 4.65, man, that's legit for him, man. I was definitely impressed with that.
Yeah. And then I also have just receivers, just multiple receivers, all the guys that ran fast. Thornton.
All the guys.
Yeah. Alec Pierce, Ohio State receivers.
Yeah.
Dotson out of Penn State. I'm probably missing a guy or two. Christian Watson. All those receivers.
Christian Watson definitely made himself some money because we talked about him, and it was like, man, he looked good on tape, but you didn't know how good he was in terms of the speed and the intangibles. And that showed up in a major way with his performance, man. I mean, he was way more athletic than I thought he was going to be in terms of not just the speed, but the vert, the broad jump as well. He was top notch across the board, man.
Yeah, I have Anderson listed here too. Tight end out of Maryland. He's getting some buzz just for his 40. I don't know enough about him. I also, because I didn't get to see him, some people were writing that he dropped some balls too, but they're saying that the 40 kind of outweighs that. People are more pumped about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my list right now of all the, we have similar stuff. Mainly, a lot of the Georgia guys, though. I mean, I have like 4 or 5 of the Georgia guys listed here.
I literally just put like UGA, any player from Georgia that showed up. Not even, it was Jordan Davis. I'm drawing a blank on the other Georgia D tackle as well. That was kind of, Jordan Davis's Robin. He still
Wyatt,
went out there.
Yeah,
he was the other one. Wyatt, he went out there and had a
4.7
like I said,
too. Yeah.
Walker showed that he could have the athletic ability and the speed to play on the outside full time as well. I thought as a whole, man, all of those dudes look really good out there, man.
Yeah. Losers.
All right. Now, I didn't want to go too in depth. I didn't want a long list of losers because, I don't like the negative association with it. But we have to talk about the guys that had higher expectations and kind of underwhelmed. Let's go UW. I got to start with the homie then. Devin Lloyd, you called him out. You're absolutely right, man. I'm
excited about him, though. I'm excited about him falling.
No, it's a great situation that he tested bad, but at the same time, it does draw a little bit concern. The 4.66 is a far cry from what everyone thought he would be running. 4.66, when you look at his athletic ability and the way he was closing on tape, it makes you wonder, like, man, well, why did it look like this versus timing like this? And those are some of the things that don't really add up. They don't really match up. So you ask yourself context. All right, was it because of the quality of competition? Or is it slower players that he's playing with? Or could it be the, unpredictable schedule that you have to deal with at the combine and it just got the best of him? But then you ask yourself, well,
a little under the weather or something. Yeah.
Right. But then it's like, well, is he going to be able to adapt to change when it's in season? When instead of playing on Sunday, you're playing on a Thursday night game? Instead of playing on Sunday, you play on Monday? Is he going to be able to adapt to said change? Like, those are some of the things that come up with him. And like I said, man, just when you're watching him in some of the drill work, he did not look fluid. That was the part that just continued to just bug my mind. Like, why are you looking like you're not this elite athlete? You're looking like average. Then you weren't displaying good ball skills. I mean, he was, struggling to catch the rock. Like I said, just didn't move well. But for me, man, just context, I was like, yo, with the combine, as I've told you, man, they have you on a crazy schedule. They do all type of things to shock your body physically and psychologically. And then they have you test the last day you're there when everything is going wrong for you in terms of no sleep, in terms of your eating schedule being off, in terms of your sleep schedule being off. You stay in meetings with, some of these execs and some of these teams. It's like FBI interrogation, spotlight on you. Everybody else kind of in that dark, that messes with you a little bit. You're staying up till midnight doing these interviews, and then you have to get up at 4 a.m. to do a drug test. You have to get up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to go get MRIs, and then they have you test. So could that have affected them? Sure. But either way, it's like, man, I don't want to hear the excuses because everybody there had to deal with same things. And right. That's the part where it's like, I'm excited about him potentially dropping, but at the same time, it's like, well, what makes a Chad Muma be able to handle this situation? What makes a Troy Anderson be able to handle a situation where they were nowhere in the spotlight that Devin Lloyd has been in this season, and they rose to that occasion with no problem? So those are some of the reasons why with Devin, I was a little bit harder on him. But yeah, I still think it's a good thing that he might fall. I ain't gonna lie to you, Deke.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting around there at 20, bro. I ain't tripping. I'm like, hey.
I'm amped up about the 4.66, to be honest with you.
Hey,
now
man.
It gives us a chance. Because I'll trust way more of what I see in the game. Like you talk about maybe he was a little shaky with the ball skills at the combine. That's what we praised him for throughout his college career. So I'll trust that over like some of this combine stuff. But your point about maybe like the mental edge may be fair, but I'll still take him 20 all day, every day. I hope he falls to 20.
Yeah, man. But if he comes out there and he's looking slow, we're going to be pissed, huh?
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
don't know. Like I
okay.
said,
Oh,
I'll
okay,
trust more of
okay.
the game stuff. I'll
We
trust
get him
more of
out there on
that.
Sunday and we like, yo, why is he getting why guys running away from him all of a sudden? What's going on here?
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
about like the in game
I
speed and
know, I
just
know,
being
I
better at
know.
that. I'll lean way
Yeah.
more of what I saw with Devin Lloyd in game
Yeah.
than combine.
Now, do you put any stock to him playing at Utah versus if he's in the SEC? Would he look as fast?
Fair point to bring up. Fair point.
I'm just like, SEC speed a little different than where he was playing at. That's all. But
Yeah,
I'm
I
still,
get
like I
what you're
said, I'm still
saying.
with it. I'm not. I guess I don't
But
shy
like,
away from him, but it
here's
just
my
gives me a
thing.
little more context. That's all.
Right, here's my thing though, dude, because Chad Muma ran a 4.662, and we're
Mm,
almost in a way looking that as more positive. I know our
yeah.
expectations were higher for Devin Lloyd,
Well, because
but no,
Devin
Duke can
looked
ball.
way
That's
faster
my
on
thoughts.
tape. Devin looked way faster on tape. Devin looked like
He
a
did,
four
right?
three
That's what I
guy,
mean. The
4-4
expectations
guy.
were a little bit
Yeah.
higher. That's why the 4.66 is
Right.
disappointing. Whereas
Whereas
with Muma,
Chad, he kind of
4.66
ran what
probably
we
within
thought.
line of what we were
Yeah.
thinking,
And he
if
wasn't four
not
six
maybe a
six. He
little bit
was four
better.
six three. Remember, one was 4.63. But say don't you be boosting his time up like that, man. Keep that clock low, man. Keep that clock low. Yeah.
Just 4.6. You get what I mean.
Yes.
You get what I
There we
mean.
go.
But
There we go.
no, I'd still want Devin Lloyd. I'll
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, if he is too slow and we draft him for some reason, whatever. Say that tape was bad, you could pull this
Yeah.
tape up, the clip of me saying that the Steelers want to draft him and put it on
Mhm.
freezing cool takes, whatever. If Devin Lloyd's there at 20, I want him. I'm just telling you
Yeah.
that right now.
I feel you on that, man. But a couple of other guys that I thought kind of hurt themselves a little bit at the draft. Kobe Bryant, he was another guy. Remember when we watched him on tape and I said
Yeah.
my only question for him was how fast is he? Because we said, man, he wasn't this big corner in terms of his size. He was a little smaller. But I said, man, he gets ran away from a lot, but he closes well. He has great ball skills. He reads routes. But you see guys get separation on him. A 4.54, it's not the end of the world. But Lord, I don't feel like that helps his case in terms of going earlier in the draft. 4.54 for a guy
Right, 'cause
that's
people were talking
not
about him round 2. Now he might be dropping round 3.
right. That was definitely what I got from him, man. Because I do think as a whole, with the 4.54, his technique is going to be fine. His vision is good, but kind of like we talked about with Cam Sutton, kind of like we talked about with James Pierre. When guys don't have elite level speed, they have to be perfect in every other aspect of their game, because if they allow a free release, if they allow a guy to get even with them on a vertical route, no different we saw with Jamar Chase being able to do it, not in the sense of Jamar Chase being an elite receiver, but elite speed. That was the difference. Whenever we had to face some of those faster guys, we struggled a little bit. And with a Kobe Bryant right now running at 4.54, you just feel like, man, if he's not sharp all the time, you might be able to take the top off on him, and that'd be something that you don't want to happen. But yeah, I definitely thought that hurt him a little bit. That 4.54, I was a little sad about that. Like, come on, Kobe, man, you nicer than that, baby. Come on, get in that 4.4 ish. It could be 4.49. It can't be 4.5. Can't be 4.5. Can't be 4.5. And
I
then
kind of feel the same way about him as Devin Lloyd, though. I mean, if he falls and now all of a sudden we can take him in the 3rd round, I'm a little more pumped.
See, I'm
Because
not gonna
I
lie,
still
man.
liked what I saw of him in game.
I
A
like what I
lot.
saw, but I didn't. I don't know, man.
You're
I don't
hesitant now.
like. Yeah, I don't like slow corners. It's that simple. I want fast corners because I know what speed does on that perimeter. I know what that speed looks like on that perimeter. And the same way we talk about Cam Sutton, it was like, yo, Cam Sutton, great technique, great fundamentals. And how many times we looking like, oh God, long foul ball. Okay, we're good. We're good. I don't like doing that. I kind of like it when it's, oh yeah, we got that corner that's running with him stride for stride. We got that guy that's just fast, and we got that guy that's either long speed or whatever. But it's like, that's just kind of how I feel about corners. I want them fast. At least 4.4. I think 4.4 is like why I cut it off at, because I think of Stephon Gilmore. Gilly isn't a 4.3, 4.2 guy. Gilly's a 4.4 guy. 4.45, I believe, when he came out. But you match 4.45 with his technique and everything else and his smarts, it makes him one of the prototypical corners out there. Good size, physicality, but has the speed to run with 90% of these receivers out here. And that's at 4.45. That's kind of like I said, my cutoff for that speed. When you're talking 4.54 trying to be out there on that perimeter, you can run into legitimate issues, man. like we talked about, dude, Tyquan Thornton. We didn't think he, was a world beater. He had really good statistics this past season. But when he goes there and runs that 4.28, I'm looking at Kobe like, okay, how do you handle that if you don't get those hands on him? How do you handle that if you're playing that off coverage like you like to play? In college, remember in college you could play off coverage 10 yards, 7 to 10 yards off or whatever, and still get physical with these guys downfield before that ball's in the air. In the NFL, you can't touch those guys after that 5 to 7 yard mark, right? You got to be hands free. That's a big difference to me. Like I said, so that's why I'm just like 4.54 when you always play off coverage anyways, and now you really can't get hands on these guys. It makes me a little bit, hesitant with them, man.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions you had going in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who else you got
man.
on your list? I got the two receivers. I got Burks and David Bell.
Oh, so I had Burks and then I had Charleston Rambo because for me, I thought Rambo, I needed him to be faster. You can't be small in terms of like thin. I mean, he was super thin with his weight and then run 4.57. I thought he was going to be a 4.4, 4.3 guy just watching his tape because we said, man, he looks like guys are scared of his speed. It was like, that's the reason why I was like, man, he could be a potential steal if you're getting him and he can go out there and run at 4.4, 4.3 and you improve the rest of his footwork and make him a little bit more consistent of a route runner. But 4.57, I was just like, man, that kind of was underwhelming for me with him.
Yeah. And with Burks, I feel actually really I know I brought up Kobe Bryant feeling similar the same way as Devin Lloyd, but there is a difference in just terms of where they were going to be drafted anyway, or just the talent, because Bryant was going to be second or third round. Devin Lloyd, always the first round. And same with Burks. Some people are considering him the best receiver in the draft.
Seriously,
to go and run the 4.5 compared to some of the other receivers, it makes him look bad in the combine. At the same time, if I'm a team that's looking at receiver and specifically looking at Burks, and maybe you're later in the draft, I'm actually pumped about that because that doesn't really change my opinion on him at all.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And we always say
he's a stud.
Well, we always say it's a part of the puzzle, right? You have to take it into account, but it's not the overall. It's not the end all be all. You want tape, you want combine, you want pro day, you want all-star game, and you take all of that in with the hope that these guys pan out. Because even with that, guys that have elite tape and tests, off the charts, they still can come in the league and be a bust. They still can come in the league and struggle. So it's not a guarantee that any of these guys that we're highlighting or even talking a little bit down on are going to come in and be world beaters or stink it up. But you just feel a lot more confident when a guy's athletic ability that you see on tape is also reflected when he's tested, because it just confirms it. Whereas otherwise you have to ask yourself, okay, is it the matchup? All right, was it the system? Was it, was it a bad day, or was it this? Or it just makes you have to question stuff that you typically don't want to question. Think about with Devin Lloyd. We weren't questioning how good of an athlete he was or how fast he was when we watched him on tape. We say, yo, he can ball. But now you have to ask those questions when you see him tested in the exact same manner that everybody else was. It's not like they gave him it's not like he had to run 43 yards. He ran the exact same distance that everybody else ran. He had the exact same conditions that everybody else ran. And that's the beauty of the combine. And that's why guys like, me in small school guys liked it, because it's like, you'll see even playing field. You can't talk about my quality of competition when we're out here doing the exact same thing at the exact same time at the exact same location. It's just different. So that's the part where now those questions become more relevant. You do have to entertain them now because of these guys underwhelming in a sense.
Yeah. Do you have anyone else? I mentioned David Bell. Only reason because he ran. You talk about him or him and Burks compared to the other receivers. He ran a 4.65, and then his athletic testing wasn't as good too with the sub 10 on the broad jump. 33-inch vertical, not terrible, but still. Dude, he's a really good receiver, though. If that means he falls a little bit, whatever, man. Because, Cooper Kupp ran a 4.6 or something like that. That doesn't mean this dude can't still be an awesome receiver in the league.
But Big Ten receiver of the year. On, man. I like how you throw out a Cooper Kupp like Cooper Kupp was. Come on, man. I see what you do. I like it.
What do you mean? No, I'm just saying this dude's a good receiver. So, I'd be amped if I could get him in the later rounds. No, but we don't need him, though. We don't need him for that because we have Deontay and Claypool, so I'm not looking for a guy maybe a little bit on the slower side. I want the burner, but if you're a team, you already got the fast guy. You want just a solid guy that has good hands, but can possession catch. Then why not that guy?
Right, I agree with you on that. But like you said, if you're a team that wants speed, you want a burner. You're like, oh, yeah, you're not what I thought you were. Whereas then you look at a Garrett Wilson, who we thought was going to be, oh, you're probably going to run a 4.5. And what does he do? He goes there and does the opposite. You're like, oh, okay, so you are actually a burner here. You see the difference of it. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. It's like we can't get crazy excited when these guys run these crazy times, but then act like, oh, a guy running a slow time, oh, it's just as good, or we're not going to be tripping on that. That's all. I just kind of try to keep it all in the same. That's it.
No, right. Not saying it's just as good. Like he hurt his draft stock. That's the problem. But at the end of the day, I mean, he could still be a really good receiver. I mean, he was an awesome receiver in college. So I don't see why he can't do the same thing in the NFL. Just knowing that other people have tested bad at the combine.
Without a doubt.
You know how it is. I just think there's extremes on both sides of this stuff. I think he could still be a really good receiver. He hurt his stock though, for sure. Because you're right. If a team is just looking for a fast receiver, like that's one of their requirements, then they're not going to have him on their list anymore. But there are smarter teams out there. There's teams that can kind of see past that, and that's when they'll take advantage of a dude like either or maybe even Birch.
You said smarter teams. I say just more risky teams, because it ain't smart when that guy actually goes out there and plays slow, and we've seen that as well. That's my only thing. They might be a little more riskier. I don't necessarily say smarter. I ain't gonna go there.
But just based off of 4.6 though,
I'm just
like
saying,
a 4.6 40.
All I'm saying is this: when we say 4.6 and we're like, oh no, he's gonna play faster, but then he gets out there and he doesn't play faster. Now you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's just not a fast player. That's all.
I get it, but then the numbers speak for themselves.
They do. I agree with you.
The 1,200, the double-digit touchdowns.
I'm with you. The numbers speak for themselves. Yes, he was productive. I'm with you, but he was also, it looks like, not fast. That's all. So they could both be the same. They could both be truth, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, he's a good player, but maybe he's not fast. That's all, man.
You got anyone else?
No, those are the main guys for me, man. The two receivers, like I said, Burks and Rambo. Devin Lloyd, definitely. And then, like I said, Kobe, man, he was the one for me also on that perimeter. That just because, like I said, the expectations from my perspective were just a little bit higher. And when you see how all these other guys really exceeded expectations in a sense, like, dude, this is one of the fastest combines we've seen in a while. Like, it was a ton of speed out there. So forgive me for not being as cool on guys that didn't light it up with the speed, because everybody was fast this year. That's all.
Let me correct myself. He had David Bell had 6 touchdowns. I was reading the wrong stat. 13.8 average per carry. I thought it was 13 touchdowns. My bad.